On this episode of the Trash Panda, we're going to remove the control panel, mount some hardware, and get onto the wiring. Okay, to remove this control panel from the Vewlix, we unlock the lock bar from underneath. This second hinge will hinge up. Remove that. Remove this second panel out of our way. Then from there we have 5 screws. 2 here, 1 in the middle, and 2 over here. So it's simple. Phillips head. On this version here, the inner two, the 2 screws most towards the screen are slotted, so you can get away with just loosening them. And we'll slide the control panel out. It's steel, so it is she's a little thick, a little heavy. Lock that back in place. Keep our front panel from flopping around, and simply push in, lift up, and remove. Okay, I temp installed a wiring harness into the Poyer 2 side in this light bar, so we can get a measurement or a guide view on mounting where we're going to want to mount our control electronics. So it's a pretty small board, but we are limited to the distance where our harness will want to plug in, and on the Vewlix here, this square is the access to inside the game. So all our wiring that comes up into this control panel comes through here. So we need to account for clearance beneath this light bar and the folding panel that comes over here, and what you may have mounted onto that panel that sticks down underneath, like buttons or switches, what have you, whatever you got going on. So let's take a look at that. With that said, the harness naturally wants to come straight to the middle. We have these stops. There's a stop here and a stop here for the control panel. It looks like our height here is excellent, so that shouldn't be a problem at all. Let's take a look. I'm going to take that back off. I just have 1 screw here. And we'll get this out the way. Alright. So with that said, we got the wiring harness. Kind of wants to fall right there in front of the lock bar, but let's take a look with it closed. With it closed, it'll fall out further. So we got like right to there. So the closer we can go to this lock bar, the better. We can go on the other side of it. we won't really have any interference with the buttons or anything. So maybe here would be a good location. Or over here between the second player's start and the joystick. But account for the USB wants to come out and has to run down here to the PC or to whatever other device I'm going to be running. And this edge here, this is where the JAMA harness is going to interconnect for all the controls. The 1-2 player start, 7 buttons per side, and then all the joystick up, down, left, right. And whatever else there may be shortcuts. Those shortcuts will tie into buttons on this panel here. So now that presents a lock bar issue for that. So this is something to consider when you're doing your wiring and mounting of the hardware. I'm going to take a minute and I'll make a decision and be right back. Okay, I decided on going with the wiring alignment just here between the first player button, or the first top button, and the joystick on both sides. That way it gives me enough room without having to stretch the harness for the controls. Getting the JAMA harness into these connectors will be a tighter fit, but I'm confident we can snake it around each side down through the hole here and get it going. So with that said, mark some spots and drill some holes. With that, I got my 4 marks. I have the control panel elevated on a box, so we're not drilling into the deck or counter we're working on. Got my mark, very small, but we will get it here. Okay, we got our 8 holes drilled, and let's bust out the shop vac and clean up the mess. And we've flipped the control panel over because we're going to be installing these nut certs, or riv nuts, however you want to call it, into the control panel from underneath. That way the extra material sticks up inside, acting as a standoff between the base and the PCB. We have a riv nut tool. It's simple as if you ever installed or used a pop rivet gun. It's the same principle, just with a different style of pop rivet. This screws on. Leave a little.
Yeah, well, this is handmade quality shit we're talking here. Yes, well, when do you need them by?
Okay, we did a simple test with both boards installed, buttons connected to the joysticks and whatnot, and connected the USB to my hub, direct to my PC running Street Fighter 4, just as a test to show, not to show, but to confirm that all the hardware is working as intended from this point, so we can move on to the rest of the wiring. Okay, on the back side of the Vewlix we have our upper rear panel that's removed to give us access to the monitor, the wiring for the speakers, uppers and lowers. I have pre-wired in here a 4K 4-port HDMI switcher, so I can put 4 video signals imported and split them off to 2 outputs, one going to the monitor itself and the other going to a port here to export video to a capture card to stream online. Also next to that is RG45 jack that is connected to a hub that's going to be mounted inside here that will connect network connectivity to any devices that need it to go online. With that said, the next thing to do is take these speakers out, replace this wiring, replace the speakers with something better because they're just total crap. Up here tied up I have the wiring harness for the upper marquee light that is just tucked up there for now. That usually just runs down the side all the way down here to the bottom, but not too concerned with that right now. There's a lower panel down here with the fan and access. Let's see if I can get a better view of that for you. That there will give access to the game boards inside, computer, and everything from the backside. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's more wiring to do and more little bit of dusting and cleanup and configuring. I gotta mount up one power strip right here to power the upper electronics, and then down here on the bottom side, there on the right is where the original power supply went down in here, and so that's probably where I'll mount my switcher power supply that will power the game board and electronics. 12 volt 5 volt stuff will get all its power from there. And another power strip down below here to power any 110 outlet stuff like a gaming PC or what have you. If I do end up throwing an Xbox or a Wii or a PlayStation or something like that in here, or even a Switch, who knows. But more into the real arcade stuff than the console stuff. So anyways, I want to keep this video around 20 minutes hopefully. So that's it for part 2. Next part 3 we should dive into more wiring and, like I said, the configuration and stuff we talked about, and maybe work on some of that hardware, getting that DarkSoft kit installed to the CPS2 board. That should be interesting. Alright, thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one.